There's 19 years of convoluted history between my wife and me. I need advice from 3 different subs, so I'll post the relevant stuff for each sub. If you want to read the complete picture, you can read my post con R divided by relationship advice here and my post on R dead bedrooms here. The post in this sub is for asking advice on dealing with my wife multiple infidelities, so here it goes. Background for context: we've been married for almost 11 years now. 19 years together, met in college and started dating. Great relationship for 8 years and then decided to get married. After 3 years married, she had a one-night stand with the son of her boss. She came home the next day telling me the son must have drooged her or something because she doesn't remember what happened. She was clubbing with her friends. The guy arrived to the club. They started chatting, and the next thing she knows, she woke up on his house. To this day, she says she's not sure if they had sex or not, but she didn't want to take any kind of legal or medical action. I forgave her. She quit her job, and we were okay. So 1 year later, we had our first son. 3 years later, she attended her best friend's brother wedding in USA. She slept with some random dude she met on the wedding. She came back to Mexico and told me all about it because she didn't use protection and needed to get tested. All clear TG. I forgave her. We did couples therapy for 8 months. She told me she was sorry, but she was so stressed out with the baby and I never helped, and she felt she had the responsibility of the baby all by herself, and so on and so on. I promised in therapy I would change, and I did. I have since done everything she asked of me. It all seemed good, so we got pregnant again, and my daughter, now 3, was born 3 years after the incident. Since December 2018, I started to get the feeling that she was cheating again. This time with her male best friend. More about him later. So I started checking her phone, and there were some glimpses of strange messages I could see, but most of the time her conversations with her male and female best friend were deleted. I was very suspicious, so I started checking her phone's GPS, and on February 2019 there it was. Her phone was on her male's best friend apartment when she was supposed to be clubbing with her female best friend. I confronted her about this, and she promised me there was nothing going on between them, and she just didn't tell me she was going to be with him because since the thing-in-law, I had gotten extremely jealous and she didn't want to upset me. I had no more proof, so I had to believe her. She promised she would cut all contact with this guy, and for a time I believed it. In a nutshell, I have had to forgive her 3 slips. One where she says she doesn't remember, one she admitted, and one she denied. For me, it has been 3 times I have had to do work and forgive infidelity in my heart. About this guy, I'm gonna call him C. C was my wife's best friend from college. She's a year younger, so even though we went to the same college, we weren't on the same classes, and she was with this guy. She always told me he was her best friend and nothing more. I always thought C loved S, my wife, but S loved me. My suspicion grew stronger when C refused to go to our wedding with some lame excuse. I told my wife that he was in love with her and couldn't handle watching her getting married to me. She told me I was crazy and that his lame excuse was valid, and that even if he was in love with her, she was in love with me. After our wedding, he went to another city to get a master's degree, and we stayed in our hometown, so he was out of our lives for many years. He came back to our hometown more or less by the time my daughter was born, and S started seeing him regularly and getting coffees with him and going places with him because after all, he was her best friend. This happened until the night I told you about before. That brings us to today. For a reason I won't describe here to not make this post even longer than it already is. I knew my wife and her female best friend were going to talk about C the other night. So against my better judgment, because I knew I could hear something more than what I expected, I placed a voice recorder on my wife's car. I thought I only needed confirmation that they had slept together. That knowing that would give me closure, and I also was hoping for some confirmation that she wasn't seeing him anymore. Instead of that, I got to hear this. I felt I made the all-time sacrifice of my life when Pimi asked me to stop saying him C because I miss him so much. I'm genuinely in love with him. I love him with all my heart and soul. If you asked me who I want to be with right now is with him, but he does not want to be with me. He wants to be with his GF. So in my genuine love for him, I let him be with her because I know how much it hurts to not be with the person you love. And this, I love C so much. He fascinates me. I have him in my head, my mind, my heart, my soul. There's friendship, history, and everything with him, but I have it clear that he's not the one I'm supposed to be with. I feel numb. I know I should feel devastated. I know a man with a healthier self-respect would have packed his bags that same moment. I know I should be mad. But the thing is, I don't know what to feel, what to think, what to do. I don't understand why I'm even considering staying. She did say some good things about me that you can read in my post here, but I think what I'm trying to ask this sub is, why do I feel the need to stay? How can I still love so much someone who has hurt me so much? What's your take on staying for the kids? I love my children and they are so young. I think I could stay just for them to be happy. Especially since we don't really fight or anything they can notice. Are there here anyone with experience on secretly recording your so? I can never tell her I taped her. It would get really nasty. She would hate me for sure, and I think it would make co-parenting more difficult. Also, I believe it's illegal, so if she knows, it could hurt my access to my children on the divorce. So if I manage to convince my sorry ass to leave, I can't tell her why I'm leaving. Me 22 male with my ex 23 female 8.5 years. She left and came back. We started dating in 8th grade. We went to high school and college together and dated the entire time. We graduated college this summer. After college, she gets into grad school in our hometown 6 hours away from our college town, and I have already accepted a job in our college town. We agree that I will move to our hometown in 1 year, put in a work transfer so we can live together during her second and final year of grad school. She stays with her family for the summer before grad school starts this past June-September, and so during this time we are long distance. She becomes noticeably irritable and distant. She comes to visit me in our college town where I have been working after a couple months and says we should take a break while she goes to grad school. I fall apart crying and she changes her mind. A couple weeks later, she starts texting me saying she doesn't feel like talking to me anymore and that she loves me but isn't in love with me. This is all through text message. I asked to call her and she allows me to a few hours later. I told her it would hurt me too much to ever speak to her again and that I forgive her and say a final goodbye. I fell apart, of course. I miss work for a week. I'm completely unstable for over a month. I don't eat or sleep really at all. She makes no effort to contact me for 10 weeks. Then suddenly, when I'm starting to heal and accept that she isn't the one for me, etc., she begins contact. She tells me over Facebook not talking is too hard for her. I delete the message with no reply. She tries texting 4 days later and I block her number. 3 days after that, she has her brother contact me. That's when she cracks. It is finals week in her first quarter of grad school and she drives 6 hours the night before her final to tell me she made a huge mistake. This occurred this Wednesday. I told her I don't believe her and that she needs more time to think about what she really wants and if it's me she wants. I told her I was skeptical and don't believe she loves me, pointing out that she said she wasn't in love with me. She doesn't remember saying that and claims that she has spent weeks thinking about it and regrets her decision. During our time apart, she said she went on one terrible date and did not leave for another guy. However, I am scared that she is just lonely, nostalgic, and will leave me again when she gets bored. She tells me it's not nostalgia and she learned her lesson. I tell her to take a couple more months to think about it and decide if it's really me that she loves. I also tell her how hard the breakup was on me and proceed to condemn our 8.5-year relationship. I told her I had to demonize her and the relationship in order to move on, and laid out all the flaws. I then told her how great my life was becoming. I now go to the gym every day, have gotten new hobbies, and am way more social with friends. What do I do here, guys? Thanks.